Okay, I will now call to order tonight's meeting of the Evanston Preservation Commission. We have a quorum of 9 commissioners present. The City of Evanston's Preservation Ordinance empowers this body to oversee and administer the community's historic preservation program. During our monthly public meetings, we encourage public participation, afford due process through public hearings on proposed landmark designations and applications for certificates of appropriateness, and discuss ways to advance long-range planning goals beyond case review. We ask anyone who wishes to address the commission to sign in and indicate the discussion item, designation, or application to be addressed. The first order of business tonight will be public comment, typically on items listed under discussion on the meeting agenda. For old and new business, I will ask staff to read each case into the record. Once a case has been read into the record, the applicant presents an overview of the proposal, including evidence and testimony that support the applicable review standards being met. Commissioners will then ask questions of the applicant. Following the questioning period, members of the public may speak toward the application, keeping their comments to 3 minutes or less. Following public comment, the applicant will have the opportunity to respond to any evidence or testimony against the application as it relates to the review standards. The commission then closes the record and proceeds to deliberation and a motion to approve the proposal or approve with conditions. A simple majority of the quorum present is required for a motion to carry. After old and new business conclude, the commission considers the previous public meeting's minutes and then discusses actions pertaining to long-range planning goals. Item 1 on the agenda is, item 2 on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone here from the public wishing to speak? Okay, did we get anything in writing that you know of? Okay, nothing that we know of. Moving on, under new business, we have 1012 Lakeshore Boulevard, a landmark Lakeshore Historic District, 24 Pres 0169. Could staff please read this into the record?
And I'll pull it up on my computer. 1012 Lakeshore Boulevard, landmark, Lakeshore Historic District, 24 PRES-0169. Schumacher Design Associates, architect and applicant, on behalf of the property owner, submit for a certificate of appropriateness to construct a new single-story bay addition to the rear volume of the structure's north elevation and construct a new railing at a west elevation existing roof deck behind an existing parapet wall. Applicable standards: alteration 1-10 and construction 1-8, 10-13, and 15.
Okay, who's here? Oh, hi. If you want to just, we all know you, but if you want to just say your name for the record, then go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Gary Shoemaker. I'm with Shoemaker Design Associates. I'm here on behalf of the homeowners of 1012 Lakeshore Boulevard. Do we have one? There we go.
Gary, was there anything sort of introductory that you'd like to say while we're getting the images?
Not really.
No? Okay. I wanted to invite you to.
I made some pretty drawings. We
Sure.
can talk about it in a second.
Okay, well, we'll just wait then.
I think you can go to the next. You can go to the. There you go, right there. Perfect. Thank you. This is a fairly simple project. The clients who purchased this home care a great deal for the historic integrity of the house and have tasked our design team and our consultant, Paul Janicki, with extending the life of this house by modifying the interior slightly, by renovating bits and pieces of it, but simultaneously taking care of the historic fabric of this home. So we have two projects that for consideration by this body this evening. One is this one-story bay addition, which is an extension of a kitchen remodeling. The other is a railing that we wish to install along an existing terrace on the third floor of the house. If you want to give me the next slide there. All right. The addition that we're proposing, the bay addition, is behind this existing bay, which was put on by Mayo in 1906, we think. You can't, the foliage and the property line obscure it almost completely from view. This is the view that we're looking at here. And if you go back up just a little bit for me, there you go. There we are looking down the property line. Again, you can't see this bay. It's going to be quite nice, but it's not visible clearly from the public way. But this is the parapet wall behind which we wish to put a steel railing that'll be set on the backside of the parapet. The parapet's about a foot, probably 13 inches deep. We'll mount that on the inside of the parapet wall. So from this angle, you'll see approximately 16 inches of that extending upward. We powder-coated bronze to match the trim and the half timbering on the house. So again, relatively invisible from the distance there. So if you could give us the next slide, please.
Does anyone need the
Okay,
lights
stop.
dimmed a little bit?
If you can scroll up, if you can scroll over to the right just a bit. There we go. Thank you.
Well, could you just pause for a second?
Sure.
We're trying to dim the lights. Do you know how to do that? Is it? Well, she. That's it. That's it. Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt.
That's perfectly fine. So again, the rendering of the bay addition, again, this is as if one were standing in the drive looking right at it. This is the edge of the Mayo addition, from which we're taking some of the cues. You can see in the photographs to the side. The detailing in the bay, these crested and profiled wood panels are consistent with the addition for the entry that Mayo did in 06. The proportion of the bay matches the other sides. So we've taken cues from the house, both the south and the north elevations where the bays exist on this house, some original and some added later. The half timbering is existing. We are replicating that half timbering and continuing that existing. This is an existing one-story bay, or one-story mudroom off the back that will be recladding in keeping with the rest of the house. You give us the next slide, if you would, please. Can you zoom out just a little bit so we can see the full slide? Hit that minus button. Is that just going to move your pages? There you go. Okay. So the bays I'm referencing, there are existing bays on the south side of the house over here, which we've taken our cues for the proportions and the trim work, the cornice, and the paneling. The other piece of this project is the removal of this abandoned chimney, which is in the center of the house up here. And that's this one here. As part of the 1909 remodeling that Mayo did, they took the main chimney out of the house on the first floor and suspended it on the second floor. It's non-functional and needs to come out, so we're going to take that down and patch the roof. If you could have the next slide, please. This is the Mayo bay we're talking about, and this is the half timbering. This is the bay. This is the location we'll be putting our bay on. The kitchen was remodeled in, we think, probably the 90s. These are non-original windows. We'll be replacing those with the Marvin Ultimate windows that we've shown in our elevations. And this is that one-story mudroom addition that we'll be recladding. The next slide. That's the existing window. That's the existing bay. This is the context of that Mayo addition, which included this dormer and this volume on this side. Next slide, please. And here is our addition. We've lined this up carefully with the gable and the bank of windows here, and again taken the detailing from the Mayo additions and modifications and brought them across, combining the bay from the south side with the bay on the north side. So the next slide, please. More photos of context. So there's that parapet looking from the yard, again with that steel railing being set back about 13 inches from the leading edge, mostly obscured. That parapet wall is probably 20 inches high, so our full railing comes to 36 inches. So you're not seeing much of it. The next slide, please. There's the flat view, so you can see the section of railing that we're adding to the back side of that. Next slide. That's the existing south elevation, and then the one after this will show you the railing profile from that side. There we go. So there's that railing on the top.
Would you mind just zooming in a little bit on that, on the railing detail? Is that enough for everybody, or you wanted a little bit more? No? Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay. I think that might be our last slide. Is that right? I think the next one is probably windows. Yeah. Yeah, the cut sheets for the windows in the next slide. So again, using a Marvin Ultimate casement window on this, which is obviously a Landmark Series window, color match to align with the house windows and the existing fabric. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that it? Okay.
That's the scope.
Any questions for the applicant? Thomas?
In the photos, there was a gas meter where the bay is going. Is the gas meter going away?
No, it's being moved. Okay. We're relocating it slightly to the east.
Okay.
Other questions for the applicant?
Yeah. Question.
ahead.
When you remove the chimney, you're going to patch a new roof, obviously. Is the whole roof getting re-roofed? It's just...
No, the inspection reports, when the owners purchased the house, put the roof in serviceable condition, so we'll match the existing.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any members of the public who wish to speak? Okay. All right. That concludes that. So we can begin our deliberation. Did anyone want to start with some thoughts about this?
Just thank the applicant and architect for a very thorough and wonderful design. I think it fits the house well.
I would second that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, same. And then I was just going to comment on the chimney. I went by the house today. It's I have no issue with that, I guess. You can barely see that chimney to begin with, so.
Yeah, I mean, if it's left, it needs to be remediated, and that's, yeah. Anything else? Does everyone feel comfortable about voting? Okay. Is there a motion? Beth, you going to do
I'll
it?
move.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Let's get to it. All right.
No.
All right, I move that we grant the certificate of appropriateness to construct a new single-story bay addition to the rear volume of the structure's north elevation and construct a new railing at a west elevation existing roof deck behind an existing parapet wall.
Do you think we should just go ahead and add the
I was just going to say, yeah.
chimney?
So rewind. For the property at 1012 Lakeshore Boulevard Landmark, Lakeshore Historic District, case number 24 Pres 0169. I move that we issue the certificate of appropriateness to construct a new single-story bay addition to the rear volume of the structure's north elevation and construct a railing at a west elevation existing roof deck behind an existing parapet wall and the removal of the chimney. It's not here.
Yeah, it's not in on the center of, yeah, on the
I just
ridge in
wanted
the
to get
center
the
of the
right
house.
language here. Yeah, it's not in there. Okay. Right, and remove the central chimney at the ridge line.
Okay, it's applicable standards alteration 1 through 10 and construction 1 through 8, 10 through 13, and 15. And then it's been seconded. Yep. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next one. At 1314 Judson Avenue, Lakeshore Historic District 24 Pres 0170. Could staff please read this into the record?
Jeannie Petrick, architect and applicant on behalf of the property owner, submit a certificate of appropriateness to raise the ceiling height and alter the roof form of an existing two-story addition to the structure's south elevation, alter the home's pattern of fenestration, including replacement windows in existing and new openings, and truncating the existing volume and roof of a rear elevation screened porch. Applicable standards, alteration 1-10, and construction 1-8, 10-13, and 15.
And if you just want to remind us who you are and then.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Petrick with Petrick Architecture. The project today, I guess I'll just start describing it. You guys are going to put that up, right? Is predominantly an interior remodel, for a single-family residence. The remodel includes second floor, bathrooms, master suite, and then the first floor includes a kitchen remodel, actual relocation, and then working on the fenestration as well as a new deck on the back. And then on the second floor, there is an existing, very unfinished sunroom or sleeping dorm that we're proposing to remodel for a office space. And with that, we needed to raise the height of the roof because the ceiling height inside was under 7 feet. And so we're proposing to raise the roof and to create, not exactly a turret, I guess I would say, but somewhat so of like an office oasis. So.
You won't be able to click it. Just tell me if I should advance.
Okay. So this is the roof plan. Basically, in this plan, you will see there's a new deck that we're proposing. Below is an existing cellar door that we're keeping, but we are removing the covered cellar doors, I guess, per se, and then we're building over it. This would only be means for exiting and or like moving storage space. It would be kind of a hidden door within the deck framing. And so by doing that, we were able to use this wall that was originally very predominantly just functional. It had about 3 different types of windows, and then the screened-in porch extended farther into this. So they want to hold on to this existing porch, which if you looked at the photos, you would have noticed it clearly was added later on. It was one of the reasons why they bought the house, the reminiscent of Camp Echo and that kind of outdoor connection of charm. So we're holding on to that, but we're shortening it so that we can open this up and connect the space out to the backyard. And so this is a brand new deck. And then this on the second floor is a new roof that is housing what was a sleeping dorm and is going to be proposed as a new office space. The windows right now are single pane and are very leaking. So what we're proposing is all new windows in this and raising the roof, but in keeping in the style of the existing windows. You can go to the next. Scroll down, yeah. Oh, that was the existing, if that's helpful. So you can see the cellar door, and this dashed line represents the full existing porch. We're just going to cut it off and then create a space for a deck. Oh, and then, I'm sorry, the second floor, the new office spaces is existing sleeping dorm with a shed roof. You can go ahead. Okay, this is the second, or no, I'm sorry. Is there a way to zoom in? Yeah. So as you can see, this is the old sleeping dorm. At the second floor, you had to step down, and then, like I said, the ceiling height was very low, so it was a very awkward space. But they love the light that's in here and the space itself, and so we're connecting this to like a master suite with an office space. You can continue. And this is the existing first floor, where I was mentioning there's like 3 different types of windows and a door that goes into the screened-in porch and the cellar. And then this is the existing kitchen that we're relocating into this bigger, what was the dining room area. You can continue. In this plan, you will see the new windows that we're proposing, which also have transoms you'll see in the elevations that wrap around this existing footprint that we're just extending upwards. Also in this, there's some new changes in fenestration that we'll see in the elevations. You can continue. This is the first floor plan with the new proposed kitchen and eat-in kitchen area and a new family room. So this wall now is cleared so that we can propose a visual connection to the outdoors, their backyard, with a deck as well. And then we're cutting the porch back, and we're building back that screened in so that they would have a connection from the screened in porch to the deck. Here, all these openings are remaining the same. We're just replacing them because they were like plexiglass, I believe. It was very unfinished space as well, and we're creating a mudroom there. You can go down. So these are, if we can zoom out a little, then you can see both of them at the same time. Can you scroll that way? Oh, great. Okay, so This is the existing the west back elevation. And this is the existing bedroom, and this is existing sleeping dorm. And what we're proposing is to extend the height and add what we wanted to try. These windowsills are very low. They're, I think, just over 1 foot above. So the challenge was kind of with working with the footprint and then keeping the windows in proportion with existing and with the transoms above, all the proportions, as well as pushing the turret up high enough so it's not connected to the existing roof line. And then you'll also see this large opening, which is replacing this area of glass. So the connection, once again, back to the backyard. And then also, this is reflective more of the interior bedroom with symmetry between the bed. And this is what it was originally. You can scroll down. Could we possibly see those both at the same time, or? I don't know if they'll be too small. Okay. So on this elevation, the changes are really only this turret, office space with the transoms above. We're keeping this detail. We're keeping the style of the windows and the proportions of the windows, materials, but we're just adding that extra transom, and then we're changing the roof pitch, or not the pitch, but the style of roof for the water to drain properly, because if this was to go above it, it would almost become flat. You want to scroll down to the next? Okay, this is the north elevation. In this existing dining room is 3 existing leaded glass windows that we're proposing to move over to the new family room area. So you'll see them over here. So we're going to salvage those and relocate those. And then in keeping with the south elevation that we looked at, the proportions, these windows as well as these reflect the same style of windows and mullions that are also in that office space up on the second floor. These will be in a similar location as the original leaded glass windows, but just this will be to get more light, and the sink is in front of there for connection, once again, outdoors. And then up here, the changes to the windows. This window is actually just getting it's pretty much the same location. It's just a little bit bigger, but it was in a bathroom and having leaking issues as well. So we're just proposing to do a new double hung window. There was also a glass block that we're removing in there. And then also there was a sliver of a window that we're just once again replacing with a new window and keeping the same opening. Both of these were in bathrooms, and I think through the wear and tear of the humidity and a non-vented bathroom through the years, 100 years of work was probably why the windows got so damaged. And then we're also introducing a new window here that just needed once again for sunlight into the bedroom. And I'm not sure if that's the last slide or not. These are all interior, so yeah, I just gave you the whole set. Oh, is there any the photos?
Is there a rendering we could?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, here.
You could go through with us?
Yeah. So this is the rendering. I'm sorry, I keep on asking you. Could you possibly, zoom in a little? So you'll see the truncated screened-in porch. And I was trying to I had to kind of pick a view to get it rendered. So this was the view that I chose so that you could see the office. You'll notice that the renderer actually, the roof line does come into the roof, but this window would actually be a solid wood panel, so that it looks like the roof line is going into the window, and that is not correct. But and what else? You'll see also the deck here, and then you can see a little bit of visibility of the opening into the new family room. This is the existing house, the front elevation during Halloween. This is existing. So this is existing screen and porch. This is existing sunroom, or I'm sorry, I keep on calling it sleeping dorm room that we're going to extend up vertically, and we're going to keep introducing this trim detail between the transom above and the windows here. I think I just threw that in for fun, but none of this is changing. And this is the back of the house as existing. So approximately at this point, we'll be truncating that so that we can gain an open porch and then a opening into the backyard.
Questions for the applicant?
I have
Go ahead.
I have a question. So that the photo of the bay with that in your drawing you have is that the south elevation?
Yeah.
Because in the drawing it shows that there's a new window, a multi-light window going there.
You know what? I'm so sorry.
Is that happening or not
yes,
happening?
Yes, I just glossed over that. I didn't mean to. Maybe we could go back to the south. I'll tell you when you're this. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. So in this, there right now you can see there is a leaded glass window that is up there currently. And to gain more sunlight into and capturing that south sun into this is like a double room inside. And they're going to have their dining table there. They wanted to add a larger window. And once again, so I introduced a window that was similar, that's up in their bedroom that we're also relocating and using again in style. This is also at the front of the house, which you, when we scroll through the photos, you'll see this window is similar in size and scale and mullions, et cetera, to the front window.
So that's a leaded window that's being replaced?
Yes.
Okay.
Could find a home for it.
So actually, I was going to ask about that. So currently, you don't have a plan to salvage that window
No.
in the project. The window that you're putting in to replace it, the larger one, did I understand correctly? That's a salvaged window from the back of the house?
No, I'm sorry. It's similar in scale and scope to the window that's up here.
Yeah, that's the
This
one.
one is being relocated on the north wall or the north elevation in the bedroom. So this is just going onto this side of the house. But if you look at the front elevation, if we, front photos, down.
Right.
you'll
There's
see
one like it.
Yes.
Right
this.
there. Yeah.
So this window is it's similar. It's maybe like 2 to 3 inches narrower because of the bay size, but it's going to be within the same room and it's going to be the same picture window with those mullions.
So currently you're taking a leaded glass window out with no plan currently to reuse it in the building. And you're putting in a window that's similar to 2 windows that are existing currently, one on the front and one on the
Yes.
back. Then one of the one that's on the back of that type is actually moving to the side.
Yes.
And then you're relocating some art glass windows on that side also into leaded
On
glass?
the north wall, there's leaded glass windows.
It's a kind of group of three?
Yeah, it was hard to get a photo of it because of the property lines,
Right there.
but you can,
Yeah. So
those windows are getting relocated here.
So the, in the proposed north elevation, number 1 here, beginning on the right and moving over, the deck is new
Yes,
with the railing
yes,
and the screen porch beyond. And then
the
moving,
screen porch is existing, but,
right, but it's truncated, but
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
that's what we see
right,
in the distance in this
correct.
elevation. Then to the left, there are new windows, there are relocated windows in this
Yes.
particular elevation. On the ground, on the first floor is relocated just from adjacent,
Yes,
and the window above is relocated from the back.
yes,
And then then moving to the next bay,
Mm-hmm.
the group of 3 windows that are taller, that are
Yes.
replaced, those are new,
yes.
but similar in size and type
Style to the sunroom ones.
to the ones that are on the other side. The sleeping dorm.
Correct.
Okay. And then you're removing 2 double hung windows
Yes,
and infilling those.
yes, because of the plan.
Okay.
We're introducing a bathroom there.
Okay. And then going to the next, or in that same bay, there's a skinny window in the upper left
Yes.
that is just being replaced in kind.
Yes,
Okay. And then the next one, the next part over to the left now is a double hung window that needs to be removed because it's in really poor condition.
and then the leaded, or I'm sorry, and then the block.
And a glass
we're
block
removing
opening. And so you're just going to put a new double hung window there
and patch up.
and patch.
So all of these will be patched, to match existing materials as well.
Okay.
Patch and repaired.
Was that all the windows?
Yes.
Did it? On this elevation. So what are the other, then in the back, on the west elevation,
Above. Or do you want to talk about the south right now, or? No, okay.
I just,
Okay. Sure.
where you're taking out the bedroom window and the one that you're moving around the corner, you're putting a double hung window there.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's some stuff going on at the deck, which is doors and other openings.
It's one large opening. It's like a door set that you would buy. So 3 of them are fixed and 1 is active.
And it's all glass.
And it's all one giant opening.
Okay.
May I ask? No, go ahead.
The 2 windows you're removing in where the French doors are going, neither one of them are decorative or leaded glass or anything, correct?
No. No, this was a very dysfunctional kitchen. So there were kind of like 3 different types of windows. There's actually a 3rd window behind this existing porch and a door all going into the kitchen on that wall.
And then just to finish with the windows, and then on the south elevation is the 1 leaded glass window that you're removing and putting in a new one, plus the additional window work that you're doing in order to increase the height of the sleeping
Yes.
dorm, turn it into an office. Did everyone follow that?
I did. I just have one follow-up question, though. The window on the south, if we could go to the photo of that, are we sure that's leaded? That might just be narrow wood muttons. I just want a clarification on that.
Oh, there it is. I believe it's just wood. Yeah, it matches the one above.
I think she's saying it is.
It is wood.
Very thin wood.
Okay, that's kind of what it looks like from my eyes here, but Thomas, you felt.
No, her house.
Okay. Okay. Just I wanted to clarify that. She's not removing a leaded glass window on that elevation.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. Okay. I mean, I have more questions, but I don't want to take up all the time. Do other people have questions? Charles, you look like you have something to say. Do you have your mic on?
Yes. It's because of the floor plan inside there. It's symmetrical inside the bedroom, if that makes sense, because the other window is actually part of like a closet, which will be like a cased opening. So they'll have that light from the north and they'll have the light from the west. It was just like a very tight space to work with. I wish I could have done that, but we needed the closet space on the north to make it function. So it's not going to be glass. It's going to be like a panel that will have the mullion pattern. I wanted this to be pronounced to not align with this. And then also I was having a challenge with the windows scale. So this was what I'm proposing, is that a fixed wood panel that would be insulated just like a wall, but it would kind of be articulated like a window frame, if that makes sense. And then this roof, the drainage would still land on this roof and then drain down.
So that's actually a set of questions that I had about the roof for this new office turret.
Yes.
So is it touching the existing roof? Or is
Yes.
it up above it? Because I thought I saw a cricket in your...
Yes, it will. I'm sorry. So right here, it will die into the existing roof. And then we will have to cricket to some extent to get the water out.
So as opposed to just lifting it up so that it's not touching the existing roof?
Well, if I lifted it up, I consider that one inside, it would be like a canyon almost. And then two, you would still have to address the wall between, like the water would run down to a wall. So
Yeah.
you'd still have to cricket it, whether it was a roof or a wall.
So you prefer, for the purposes of the project, to have the two roof forms touching each other rather than articulating the turret and having its own roof? Did I say? Does everyone understand
I'm
my
following
question?
you.
Okay.
I'm following you.
Okay.
I just didn't want it to start to compete too much with the house.
Fair.
I mean, it was secondary initially. We wanted we wanted to have fun with it and have a neat space on the inside, as well as the roof line's just the challenge with that, and the spacing of it, and then also kind of maintaining that existing articulation with the windows. I have considered lowering the roof line so that like this eave would match this line. I can't remember why I didn't do that. I think I was we had to have I was thinking we'd have to have some large structural framing between the transom and the windows because of the span and the size of the windows. So that kind of introducing this articulation of wood trim. If I was to push these down, and then that might be the smoothest for drainage purposes. That would be probably the only logical thing. I just wouldn't want to push it too up because it's already very tall and it's fairly small space.
Sarah, can you go to the south elevation? I think we're looking at the west here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Could you go to the south?
So that was, if you wanted to, that was existing. So this shed roof kind of dies right underneath the existing roof line.
Proposed? Just
And then the proposed is below this.
there we go.
And those are like 2-story, what, pilasters or kind of, right, with capitals on either side?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just extending the trim detail that was existing. Yeah.
But it reads kind of as like a
Like a very
two-story.
tall capital.
Yeah.
And that's how it was originally
Okay.
articulated.
Yeah.
So while we're looking at this elevation, I do have a question about the photo seems to indicate that that projection off the house originally was 1 story, had a shed roof, and that this sleeping porch was added on top of that. And in fact, the existing home still has that outer edge and eave overhang of that shed roof poking out from this now complete 2-story, 2.5-story, whatever, tower. So the question is, are you keeping those little wings of the original 1-story roof, or are you clipping it off as this image shows?
I'm sorry, I
It
don't
might
think
help
I'm
if we
following
went.
you.
Okay, can we
The
go to
photo?
the photo
Are
of
you
that
talking about
condition?
at the first floor? The
Page
detail at the first
53.
floor? Or like at the roof of the first?
One more, I think.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah, there
Right
we go.
right here.
Right there.
Yeah. So are those staying or
was-
going?
I was proposing to remove them.
Okay. And
Because
so,
it seemed haphazard, like this was built and then this was built. I don't know.
It breaks it up. Is that what you're getting at, John, as opposed to what?
Because it's so
she's-
vertical.
it's more,
It's
in assessing the whole piece now as it's being proposed, it's important to me to know if that extra element is there, basically.
And the outriggers.
And the rafter tails?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along that line, the new one has something going on above the fascia, below the roof. You have something indicated there. They look like dentals to me, but I don't know what
I was trying to mimic these brackets that we would be, even though the roof itself is not the same type of roof, but the detailing of the eaves and the overhang would be the same. So we would,
But you're getting rid of them below.
Is that the rafter tails that you're referring to? Yeah.
so this was my logic, was that this structure seemed like an afterthought to this. I don't have any documentation, so they just kind of built on top of it. Because if you had a 2-story space, you wouldn't build a roof and then build,
Yeah, you would. You have a sleeping porch, you might.
you wouldn't build a second story on a roof line. So my logic was that this is not needed, and plus it didn't have the detailing of the ones above. But I would consider keeping them up if people think they're significant.
We can talk about that. This is question time
Yeah.
for you.
I have a couple of
Go ahead,
questions.
Thomas.
On the, I guess it's the south. So there's a cricket, and it looks like the cricket, the new roof, and the old roof come together in a point.
Are you talking about the roof plan?
It looks like that way. It does look like that on the roof plan. So I guess I don't know how easy it is to flip back and forth. But if we look at the roof plan and then look at the west elevation, would that
So
be?
what I'm assuming that the two roof lines are coming down like this, and I was trying to draw a cricket to pitch it
The roof plan, yeah, if we could look at the roof plan and then the elevation. Right, yeah, so the new roof, the cricket, and the existing hip, which is shown as a gable in the rendering, come together
Yes.
right there on the west at a point. So I guess,
I misdrew this.
Oh, yeah, yes, this is.
well, it seems like
The part
it,
is, it's hard to read that roof line. I wish I had like a,
no, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, there's a hip that's,
I
Yeah,
wasn't sure though if this will be, it was kind of like I was not, it's hard to tell if it will run, if this will run. I think this is drawn incorrectly because the turret wants to be higher. These two roof lines are at the same height. So this is all over that. And I should have drawn it like that. And then the cricket would have gone in both directions.
so I think there's kind of the roofs need to be resolved. And the other thing is, I was just curious, just like there's going to be a downspout taking a lot of, not a lot, but a bit of water there. And it looks like it's coming down inside the, where it like next to or like into the deck or the Camp Echo screen porch.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the King Back
So I'm not sure these things, I'm just asking it how. they're all
Yes, there
solved.
will be a downspout at that corner that will have to like probably shed, that will shed directly under the deck and spill out to the yard, feed the garden.
I've got just a few quick questions to go through. Did you say what the windows are going to be, what materials the windows are?
They will be wood clad.
So clad with aluminum clad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, just curious, the leaded glass or the thin muntined window,
Oh, yes.
did you consider bringing in light, did you consider keeping it and putting a window below it?
I did, but when you're looking at inside the room, and also there's just so many types of windows in the house, and they really wanted to bring as much light into that part because it's kind of, this is the living room, and up here you have one window, and then they just have a sliver window here, and then this was very high, and then they had just two double hungs. So we wanted to flood light into this space, and this window is here. So it made sense. These windows were also at the same head and sill height of this window.
Could we go to that
Just
elevation?
made sense that those two to kind of harmonize the whole room instead of seeing like five different or two different types of windows.
Well, in
Two
terms of
different
the
types
amount
windows
of
in one room.
light, like it looks like what you're putting in there is a window with a bunch of muntins. So I think if you just had like a picture window below that one with the sills lining up, there would even be more light because there would be less solid opaque material, and it would.
Well, it's actually wider too.
Oh, the new window's wider.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just curious. It'd be a way to save the window when it
Yeah.
fits in, and I mean, you see that it's kind of you have that on the left with a more detail over something with more opening. And then you mentioned, windows are kind of moving around, patching and repairing. Is the entire home, or these are the planes where windows are moving, going to be I guess it's not painting, you don't paint stucco, but
Oh,
completely,
sprayed or stained or.
yes, so we don't see the
Yes. So it'd be
Okay.
patched and repaired to match existing materials.
patch and repair, but also recoated.
Yes.
Well, I would at least say the planes where,
From edge to edge.
yeah,
Edge to edge.
Yeah, you wouldn't, it would, look like it was always there. I mean,
okay.
there would not be any reminiscence of the old window
Got it.
locations.
Are you done, Thomas?
Well, I guess not to beat the turret into the ground, but did you consider it as a bay rather than something that had to go up above it? Because it seems like the problem that you're having getting water off is kind of a problem of your own making. And the space on the other side, the main house has okay ceiling height. And I'm just wondering, like, if the roof came down so that band was continuous, then you might not need a cricket. And because it seems like the tubes are kind of competing. It's not subservient to the main volume, and it's not sticking up above the way we'd expect a turret to stick up above. So if it were a bay, it might just kind of fit in, as opposed to creating a roof condition that has to require magic.
I like that idea. I guess it was like I didn't think of it as a bay because it seems larger than a bay, and it solves, like, I agree with you, it solves all the problems with the crickets, et cetera, and these are two roofs connecting to this roof.
If you did that, you would have the ceiling height would be okay.
That's, I'm positive, because
Okay.
it's already very tall inside. I don't think that would be an issue.
As it's designed now, the bedroom height, is it the same as what the office height is being proposed? Or is the office now going to be higher than the bedroom right next to it?
It would be higher.
Yeah, okay. And do you know what the ceiling height is of the bedroom right now?
I don't know offhand, but I believe it's somewhere around 8'6".
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
It might be 9 feet.
And then the office ceiling height would go all the way up to like near 10 or what?
It would be
It's like a night.
more like 10'6".
Yeah, wow.
Because we're stepping down to it. I could shift this all down and then the roof line would work much better.
Oh, there's a step down from the bedroom to the office.
So this is 10'6" ceiling height.
Oh, that's so weird. Yeah.
That's what it was existing.
So you're saying you would just move that volume?
Down
Down.
and align it. And then, I was trying to, once again, I wasn't thinking of it but that would solve the roof line and drainage issues. And I don't think it would, I think initially I wanted to rise above the roof line just so because it felt so independent of the existing structure. But I think if it reads more as a bay, it can still be articulated the way it is and makes sense architecturally.
Could you do it and still retain the roof form over the bay
but
that
I
way?
think I
Just connect
would
the gutters?
prefer to take it all the way back straight so that it's so that I wouldn't have I'd eliminate the crickets, so it would just be a better structure for drainage.
So that would be similar to the existing like shed roof?
No, it would still, like in this elevation, it would probably read the same, but like on the west side,
So it would not,
it would extend straight
Okay,
into
I
would not hit
I
back
see.
on the
Yes.
on the
Right,
back side of
right.
this.
So that-
It would
it
just be a three-sided
straight
hip.
with yes.
Yes.
I get that.
which
now, yeah.
I'm taking your idea. Thank you. But then it would be a lot simpler. And I think it still accomplishes what the goal was.
And you can
Architecturally, aesthetically, functionally.
and you can still keep the roof line that's there, the roof form that's there, so it has its own identity.
Yes. I mean, if we want to go to the rendering, maybe that would. I think the rendering's above the photos.
above that, yeah. There you go. We just messed up.
One down.
There we go. So imagine,
Can
I'm
you
going to have to
zoom in?
double check with the pitch of the roof and then the window sills requirements. Anyways, but I think I can accomplish and actually, as you can see in this perspective, this pitch would go, you can't even see the pitch of the roof, what it's doing. So it's not really visible to anyone. The visibility is actually the structure. And then I have like a pitch here, and then it slopes down to the roof, but we could just extend it straight across.
I think
And once again, both those will not even be visible.
this is a tough drawing to understand it because you're showing, or it was rendered as a gable as opposed to a hip.
I know that was, sorry, once again,
Yeah.
communication with China. I didn't get it.
Yeah,
But it would still die. I have to like check I believe this pitch, will be coming back, but so will this, and it will just land into that roof line.
As long as it starts back from
Far
where the
enough.
first one starts and it's not any steeper of a pitch, you'll never leak over the edge of the main house.
Beth, you had a comment?
Yeah, just the west elevation drawing. It's not showing the main part of the house where the chimney is and everything. And I think it'd be helpful to be able to see that on the west elevation with all the different roof
Oh,
forms.
you mean beyond?
Beyond, right? The next plane back. I think just to see the whole elevation, like as its entire form,
Right. Okay. Well,
would
so,
be helpful.
yeah.
It wouldn't change your ideas about
So
changing
imagine this line being eliminated, and this would go straight back.
Okay. And then past that plane back there, then there's the chimney and then the rest of the
Yes.
mass of the house.
Yes.
And do you recall, like, is the pitch of that roof the same as the existing main roof here that we see? Do you know? Like, I'm just trying
It's
to
funny.
picture all the different.
It's kind of a complicated structure. There's actually like three roofs of the main body of the house. The front is like just a gable roof, and then the second, or the one that I have drawn here, is the hip.
Hip,
and
right?
then
Yeah.
this beyond this structure,
Yeah.
there's another wall here, and then that's also a hip
Oh, yeah.
that goes up, and then the chimney, and then like a pitch that's the front of the house.
So I have a question, because on the south elevation, it's drawn as one continuous hip, but then on the north, there are two before you get to the chimney. So is it only on one side that you can see those two?
No. There should have been a line here.
Can you say again where the line should be?
Oh. So this pitch right here, there should be a pitch line right here. It's all like, because the width of the house is slightly different, so it's kind of the same roof, but it jogs or projects out farther in this mass. This is a little narrower.
Okay, we're still in questions for the applicant mode here. Does anybody have any other questions?
I had a question about the screened-in porch and truncating it. Did that decision to just truncate it, was that an owner directive, or is there the possibility of reforming it so that you're maintaining the original structure but just on a smaller scale? Or, like rebuilding it to be,
Right.
instead of truncating it, just, like actually creating a,
We did discuss it. I think the concern was more cost.
okay, yeah, okay.
And then also that would shrink the ceiling height too, which they did like the large volume inside.
Oh, okay. And it's in okay condition to withstand all the construction around it and everything.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Okay.
Questions, additional questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to wishing to speak? Nope. Okay, well then we're going to go ahead and close this part of the meeting and move to our deliberation. So if we have any other questions for you, we'll let you know.
You want me to sit down?
Yeah, you can if you want. Does anyone want to start our conversation? Go ahead.
Just want to make a comment on the south elevation. Just wanted to echo what Commissioner Alleman said about adding a window below the existing window in the dining room. I don't know what page that's on, but keeping the historic window with muntins and then just putting, a window below it that's, just as wide. And that's actually, I've seen that done. That's actually how my dining room is currently. So I know it can be done and it can add light and it looks fine. And it maintains the historic windows too.
Yeah. John, did you want to comment?
So, well, first I'll talk about that window we were just discussing. So, I could also see where we do the large new window, the existing window is removed, and then we duplicate the look and feel that has the little muntins around the perimeter with the big open space in the middle. I mean, I know that's sort of like bastardizing the one that was there in a way, but I also think it's not so precious that it still keeps the tone of that. It's in that kind of tradition that we see in the homes of this period and matches what's going on in a smaller version up above it. So I wouldn't object to that. I do want to talk about the tower now, and thank you everybody for bringing up all your good points on that. I had concerns about that as well. I love the idea of matching the eave line and having a simple hip roof butt into the existing roof. I'm a little concerned about what happens in this view would be on the right-hand side where we're not seeing the other roof line coming in. There might be some complexities there. We might end up with some crickets in there anyway. I don't know for sure right now. And I don't know what happens to the transoms in that scenario. So I think maybe they could take their cues from the lower windows that we're looking at, the very tall lower windows that we're looking at in this image, where it's one big window that's yes, Jeannie. But those are things that I would like to see. I think I would like to see this become a continuance so we can see some of these issues resolved. The other issue that I brought up with the former one-story projection of the house that had the sleeping porch put on top of it. If the screen porch wasn't there, there's a lot going on. And so and unfortunately you were tasked with doing so much in one little corner of the house. I probably would think we should just leave the little wings of the former roof poking out. I could go either way. I feel I'd be so much happier if we brought the tower eave line down, that I feel like whatever's going on in that lower level, it's existing. You could clip it off and retrim it out, or you could keep it. I'm okay either way. I'm just kind of going through all my points right now. The screen porch, ideally, I'd love to see you take the money that you're saving on the tower, presumably, and reconfigure that roof on that as well. That's tricky though, because you're dealing with the windows that you're trying not to block up above, and maybe a shed would work that would be sloping from the sill of the tower windows down towards the backyard.
Well, I even thought of just like that. I mean, I don't know how you do this without laying foaming glass, but just if you lower that so that they start at the same point. And
Right.
Anyway,
That's tricky.
Jeannie, if you wouldn't mind coming to, because we have to record it.
I had considered, I just don't know how physically possible it would be during construction to save this structure and move this roof line down so that, you're pretty much maintaining the existing style of the screened-in porch, lowering the ceiling height slightly, but then it also alleviates having any issues of running into these windows.
Thank you. So I'm open to other solutions on the screen porch. I probably won't object to it as it is currently proposed. I feel like it's such a different kind of component of this building that this could fall under the idea that it should look different, not have to match the existing home. So those are all my thoughts on this.
Carl, did you have something you wanted to say?
I agree mostly with what Commissioner Jacobs said. I do like the composition of roofs with how the addition of the porch is, with the shape and the way it's designed now. It's very truncated, and it doesn't really fit the composition of. I mean, everything else has a finished gabled end, and then this one it's just chopped off. So I don't know about that, but yeah, I agree with it would be helpful to see this come back to see how that lowered tower would meet, especially with the new clear story or transom windows.
Other comments?
Yeah, I'd like to, for that tower that's on let me just make sure I've got the right. Yeah, from the south elevation where you see, like in the photo, where you see the definition of the first story part, and it's probably at one time roof, and then you see that there's like a second story added onto it. I like seeing that definition and that history of the development over time, and I think losing that would be a shame. I think it's there now, it's working now. I think there's a chance to build on it instead of streamlining it and making it something that it wasn't. I like the idea of trying to simplify those roof lines. Just if bringing it down is what does it, that's great. And I'm open to the idea of maybe even changing the window type where you use those ones that are on the first floor of the south elevation with a different kind of window. And for I think it's the dining room window, the one with a lot of, the new window where it's going to have a lot of panes there. I like the idea of being able to retain the existing window with all the square muntins in there, and then adding a picture window down below. I thought that was a really thoughtful way to solve what the owner is wanting. And keeping some of those historic touches, especially because it is right below its twin, right above the floor above. It's a nice feature to have two of those right above each other. So to lose one, maybe unnecessarily, then I think it's nice to be able to consider something else for that. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matthew.
Just one very brief comment, though it's not going to be a very helpful one. It seems to me that what we have here is a need or a desire on the part of the clients to reorganize or to change the internal layout of the house. And that's then necessitating all this fiddling about with the exterior of it. And the part of the underlying problem with our regulations is that we don't comment on what's going on inside the property. We only comment on the facades. And so I think that's something we should note as we think forward on how we're going to handle that in cases in future.
Yeah, that's definitely something that comes up every so often is, wanting to make sure that what we're asking for on the outside doesn't in any way impede what the property owner needs on the inside. I wanted to make a couple of comments. I'm open. I would be inclined to keep that window on the south elevation, the skinny one that's there now, and put a picture window under it. If there was a reason, if there was a use for that window once it's removed, maybe it could have a new life in another part of the building, and it would be okay to replace it. If it were being replaced by something that was salvaged from another part of the building, maybe. But it's going to be a new window going in to replace an older window, and the older window doesn't have a task right now, so it's kind of doesn't seem to follow the best practice.
Can I ask a question about the detailing of that?
Yeah.
So Tom, Commissioner Alleman, you can comment on this as well. So is that a separate punctured opening stucco opening in that wall surface, or is it combined under one sort of cased opening where there's a bar in between the two windows?
Yeah, I think you save some money on the header because this is making it a few inches wider on each side. So there's some carpentry that you would avoid, and it would just be one cased opening, and they could be, effectively molded together, maybe not practically, but just, one opening.
Okay. So it actually would read more as a transom to the lower
Exactly, yeah.
to picture window. Okay.
I think actually it would be quite handsome as a solution to this particular problem and retain the character of that particular situation there. The other thing I wanted to comment on, I'd love to see some revised drawings here with the roof line indicated correctly on the drawings and the roof of the turret being brought down so that the eaves match up and stuff. On that, if we're treating it like the bay, that part of it, with the rafter tails that are coming out, I am neutral about whether those rafter tails get saved, but some additional articulation of the first floor and the second floor is really articulating that. It is clearly articulated here, but what's happening here is that, at least in the elevation, is that the upper floor is so dense and tall that it looks out of proportion with the base. Like the bottom part doesn't look like it's holding up the top. There's something that's not quite right here. But maybe if the roof line comes down, it'll seem better.
And you're not reading that base right now, but when that intermediate existing roof line is in there, it really does read as a base.
Exactly. So there's something that isn't, that there might just need to be a little bit of reconfiguration in the drawing to give it bring it back. It's just too tall for its narrowness right now without being broken up. There's something, so if the rafter tails were there or something like it and the roof line were slightly lower, it would read a little bit more balanced and harmonious, I think. I am neutral on the porch. It's odd the way it's kind of it definitely looks truncated to me. But I have a Camp Echo style screen porch on the back of my house, and it's definitely has its own personality. So if this is the personality of this, it was one of the reasons why we bought our house, and I totally appreciate the fact that they want to keep it as much as possible. So, it's the back of the house. It's theirs to do what they want. I mean, if they're losing space in here by truncating it, so.
Well, I mean, may I add to that? I think this house has a kind of a fun composition of windows already, so it's kind of got that style going. So I think to follow your logic of not messing with the screened porch would potentially save it and not cause any damage and reconfiguration is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's with all of the windows and the turret and all the things, truncating the screen porch to me is the least problematic.
I think it's an improvement actually from the existing, yeah. I think it allows the main house to breathe a little bit more, and I think it improves.
I would agree with you on that in terms of its scale. What's reading odd in the proposed west elevation is the tiny little piece of roof with the peak off to the side. It feels like it wants to be now a shed.
I wonder if, without seeing a plan and knowing what's going on behind the big 4 panel door, I wonder if, for me, it's too truncated. It just, it's a fairly big difference compared to the roof above that we were talking about with the turret. I mean, if it just went over one more bay, like if you could take one of the panels, and I don't know if this works at all with the plan, but if it went one more bay, it's really similar. And I don't know if this drawing is accurate, but it's the way that doesn't look like it's probably built that way. That the header over the door doesn't quite, that it's above the eave,
Jeannie, if you want
on the north. But I guess if you just went over one more bay, and maybe even if you didn't want to crowd, if maybe there's a little bit more of an overhang on that side, so the porch can kind of hang back. I totally get and appreciate what you're doing with, opening up the back of the house, the backyard. But I think there's probably something in between the Ginsu chop and Camp Echo.
Thomas, can I ask you a clarifying question there? Are you talking about actually extending just the roof line and having kind of an extended eave? Or are you actually truncating it less?
Both and. Truncating it less. And if you still need to get a little bit more roof line mojo, you could continue it as long as obviously it doesn't hit the door.
Because if you were to extend the eave, then that would sort of give a little bit of covering for the door.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought of it. Like if I'm coming in the back door, I'm going to be like, why did they cut that out? I'm getting wet. And again, I don't know what's going on in the plan, so it's easy for us to say up here. But if there's some way to reconsider that opening, maybe there are 4 slightly narrower panels, or maybe there's 3, or maybe they shift over a little bit so that you can get one more bay. Then for me, it doesn't feel as disharmonious.
Because it's more balanced.
It's more balanced.
Side
Yeah,
of the peak.
exactly.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But it's currently not balanced.
I know. That's why I think it actually gets better if you just cut it back one bay.
You were saying, Lisa?
Sorry, it's currently not symmetrical.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but what's your?
Right there.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if I have a conclusion.
but I mean, I guess my question is, you're right. It's currently not symmetrical. And so then we're in the proposed plan, elevation rather, it's ending up still asymmetrical, but in a different way.
Right.
So how do you feel about that?
I think I would have to see a drawing
Okay.
to see how she deals with it.
Okay.
I have 2 comments though that are different than everyone else's. Sorry. On the and this I think was said, but on the south elevation, if you do bring down the turret, can you use the similar windows in the breakfast room? And I think that's what you were talking about.
Those are actually, there is, it's a gorgeous stained window on the south. These windows?
Yes.
Those windows, you can't really see it in the photo, but they're actually like tree-leaded glass windows with stained glass windows.
Can you,
with
though?
a tree motif. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to touch those. Those are
No,
beautiful.
I'm not saying touch them, but when your turret comes down, instead of having that big transom over it that's making us feel like it's so heavy,
Oh, yeah.
to do something
you
similar
mentioned
to that. I
too.
think that's what.
The heart, I mean, I could do the proportions and stuff, but
Right.
this would be too
That's all I'm
cost
looking
prohibitive.
And then, strangely enough, I have problems with the, with the north elevation. No one else did, sorry. You have a big, huge window in your new closet on the second floor.
Once again, it's about the floor plan. So we have closet space on each. It's like a cased opening with a pocket door. And the idea is to make, even though the bedroom doesn't function as a big bedroom, you're getting that northern light. If we would have closed that whole wall with just a door, then they wouldn't have gotten the light flooding in. So the idea was to have, closets on both and a huge window to flood light into the bedroom from the
So
north.
we look at solids to voids, and that whole elevation changes drastically. If you can get both sides of it, that whole elevation changes drastically as far as solids to voids.
Yeah. I guess I would argue if we went to the existing,
Yeah.
that yes, this whole wall doesn't have any light on it. But I would argue that all of these are functional other than this, which this is a stairwell that's going up to the third floor. But
I
you can see
understand.
how a lot of them are driven by function. Like this is the stairs going to the basement. This is the stairs going up.
No,
And
I
then-
understand that. Sorry, I don't mean
And
to
then,
catch up.
and this was an old room that we're capturing to function as a master bathroom. So it's just unfortunately, I mean, I would love to bring more light and not lose those windows, but there was just no way to make it function properly to do so.
I'm just pointing out to the commission that that's what we look at, voids to solids, and that whole side changes pretty drastically.
So you want to see those windows stay? Is it like,
I just want, I mean, she's put,
like the second floor windows are towards
there's
in
a
the inside?
huge window going into the closet.
Yeah.
I would maybe argue that the proportions of the glass that we're losing here, we're just relocating over here. I mean, not in the same style, of course, but.
It's just my comment.
Wait, let's find the standard and just have
May
a
I
quick
just
look at
ask a
it.
follow-up question? Like, would it be better instead if it was a multi-light window in the closet, if it was reading as a double-hung window or a pair of double-hung windows or something over the three
For
decorative?
me, it would be much better. I mean,
Right.
we're just putting a big, huge window on that we don't see on that elevation at all. We see lots of double hungs and some decorative glass, and now we have a big picture window in the closet.
My 2 cents on that elevation is it is all of the windows, it sounds like, are being driven by what's on the other side. There's not a lot of organization. So it's different. The solid to void is different now than it was before. But before, it was not particularly organized. So I don't feel like it's less organized. It's just different.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think what it's different from is like the existing is such a fun assembly of windows, to use the word that Commissioner already used. There's so many different window types on this building already, on the house already. And I see that the new closet window is referencing the front window, I think, with the multi-panes. But yeah, there's just such a variety of windows here already. But your point about the solids to voids on the actual wall masses, that's interesting, right? It's a good point.
Can you just clarify what those windows that you're closing up on the second floor on that elevation? Yeah. What's the reason for that? What's behind that?
It is a future master bathroom,
I see.
and so we need a wall for mirrors, shower.
Okay.
And I would, I guess, before Thomas had mentioned this, that in a lot of these old Victorian homes, you'll see that what is very common is the front has a strong aesthetic and balance and stuff, and then maybe one of the sides, which I think the south is more prominent because it has to me, the south is more important. It's got a wider lot line. It looks to the south with the sun. And then the north and the back, but you can see a lot of, it was driven by function initially. And so that is kind of how I approached it too. I didn't, this just would not work with what our needs were. And then also I thought this was unusual how this was a solid wall. I always was wondering if they'd maybe close something up or something. So I was surprised it was solid. But, and then this steps back. So there's this symmetry that I'm trying to create, but the balance of the windows, I feel like like this, there's 2 windows here with a glass block. This is still 2 windows. Now this is solid. These 2 windows are eliminating, but then I'm adding a larger picture window. Probably the biggest element of sunlight coming in is more here because we're still relocating these here. But I guess I would just say, like, the north wall is kind of acting and functioning, is more driven by function than the exterior or form.
All right, so we're still supposed to be in deliberation mode here among
I'm
us.
sorry, should I be
No,
commenting?
it's okay. We've been asking you questions, but I just want to remind everybody where we are in the scheme of things. Did you want to say something?
Well, I was just following. Sorry, I asked my follow-up question. That led to a whole nother discussion. I was just trying to find the standard for that, and I thought this alteration standard number 9. I mean, innovative design for alterations for existing. I mean, it's kind of innovative that we're reusing windows and putting them in. I guess, right? That we're maintaining historic windows, but we're relocating them, and then also what the interior function of rooms is dictating, but it's still compatible because it's based in design already found on the house.
The rhythm,
right?
the rhythms of solids and voids is actually in the standard of construction, number 4. But I think that I have always read that as if the rhythm of solids to voids is special in some way, we need to retain it. But on this facade, it's out of the 4 facades, what's after tertiary, the 4th. The 4th in the sort of hierarchy of significance. So that's so it is true that the rhythm of solids to voids in the facade in this particular case is being modified, but in the scheme of things, it's not impacting a primary or even a secondary facade. But anyway, I think that's what you were talking about.
Yes.
The number
4.
Number 4. Does anyone else have any? It sounds to me like this is a continuance. So I'd like to make sure that the applicant has all the feedback that she needs in terms of the specific things we're looking for. Charles, go ahead. Is your thing on? Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine's not on either.
So the turn, which I understand will be lower now in height, it has felt a little heavy and massive for that location and the horizontal members are so much thicker than the rest of it. I'm anxious to see what the new rendering will, how that will look, because it just seems kind of out of balance, the mass of it, the way it is now.
Yeah, I think that the comment I think that Lisa and possibly Thomas were talking about was eliminating the transom and maybe having needing to have some kind of different window situation going on there in order to make it all work. That might help.
I just want to clarify. So like you said, I kind of know how to move forward. I have ideas and stuff. But what about eliminating that style of window that's in the existing sleeping dorm?
Did you consider just moving the sill up?
Well, that's kind of what I did, but then I added the transom. But structurally, because it was going so vertical, I introduced another structural member between the transom and but I think if I shrink it, I should be able to eliminate that and have a header around the transom and I think that will eliminate a lot of your comments, I hope.
Okay, so you have a sense of what we're looking for, and just to so we do need to take a vote on the continuance, and so does somebody want to take a take a shot at the continuance, and that would include some specific guidance for the record for what we were going to be looking at next time around. Does anyone want to take a shot at that? John, you want to go for it?
Sorry. Regarding 1314 Judson Avenue, Lakeshore Historic District, case 24 Pres 0170, that we have a continuance on this case, and with particular focus on allowing the designer to look at the height of the turret or tower, and address the transom or no transom windows as part of that, as well as what happens with the one-story former addition, with there being, I think, a majority of commissioners feeling like it's probably fine to leave that as it is. And looking at the window on the south elevation, which was probably a dining room at one time, to converting that to keeping the existing mutton window and combining a lower picture window with it. Several options offered on what to do with the screen porch, in terms of truncating it less, giving it a little more harmony, perhaps, and there being some other comments on some of the windows on the north elevation.
Second.
And, excuse me, can I just add, and showing all the roof lines?
Yes, thank you. And yes, getting a little more specific on some of the complex roof lines on, particularly on this back part of the house.
Including possibly even just like a freehand 3D sketch, just something so we can see how all the roofs meet.
As well as the background information from the backyard view looking towards the front.
In elevation, what's in the distance?
Yes.
A question for everyone. Did we want to add to the continuance the 3D rendering, making sure that that's a hipped roof and that it's reconfigured? Or is that what you're talking about, Thomas, with the sketch?
Whatever medium allows you to explain how the roofs come together, whether it's a perspective or an axonometric or a 3D pencil sketch, just clarity.
It's required in the application to have some kind of 3D, but we're not necessarily saying it needs to be re-rendered. Okay. All right. Does everyone, are you still seconding it? Okay, so it's been seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. The motion carries for that. So thank you very much for answering all our questions, and we'll see you back here for that one next month. Now,
You guys have a skip in the schedule because of holidays? I guess you wouldn't.
No.
Okay.
No,
It's
we have
early third week of January? Or?
we canceled the August meeting
Oh, okay.
as a result of
Okay.
vacations and stuff. So we stick with this into January. We are going to be talking about the dates for next year later in this meeting.
Okay.
If you want to know what the date is going to be, because
Okay.
that isn't actually
I
set
can
yet.
circle back with Cade.
Yeah. It'll be posted on the website. Now, question for the commission. We only have a couple of things left, so we could keep going. It may take us past 9 o'clock, which is when we usually take a break. But if we're all okay to just keep going with the meeting, Thomas is adamant that we're keeping going with the meeting. Does anyone object if we just keep going, even though it might take us past 9, just to finish? We're all okay? All right. Okay. In that case, we're going to move on to 1423 Elmwood Avenue. It's a landmark, 24 Pres 0171. If staff could please read that into the record.
Jeannie Petrick, architect and applicant on behalf of the property owner, submits for a certificate of appropriateness to construct a second-story hip roof addition to an existing single-story gable addition at the home's rear volume and alter the current home's pattern of fenestration with new windows in new openings and replacement windows in existing openings. Applicable standards, alteration 1-10 and construction 1-8, 10-13, and 15.
Okay, thank you. Hi again.
Hi. Jeannie Petrick with Petrick Architecture. This project includes a interior kitchen remodel that expands into an existing, all within the existing footprint, but was once a mudroom. Porch area is now becoming the complete kitchen. And then above that, we're doing a second-story addition, which would also change that existing gable roof that's you'll see in some of the photos. So this is the proposed plan. It's a front porch, wraparound porch with a turret. It has one existing single roof with the other is you'll see in the elevations, but a gable roof and then a shed roof to the side. So what we're proposing, because it's going up to second stories, we're keeping all the existing head heights. So for the exterior, all the trim, frieze board details and brackets, we're going to repeat around this. We're also continuing the roof line pitch, and that it was originally a hip roof, and we are simply extending that so it would extend back to the back of the house. Oh, and then there's also a new wood deck off to the south side. You can scroll down. So this is the new second story space, and within the existing bedroom, we're proposing a master suite, basically with a walk-in closet and a master bedroom, and then adding a new bathroom. This is the current family bathroom. You can scroll down. In the back, this was the existing footprint. And so we are basically remodeling the interior of it, which is affected also by window fenestration and doors and a deck. You can scroll down. Keep on going, I believe because I bundled the elevations together. Okay, so, wait. Shoot, I think this is the old file. Yeah, I hope you guys requested that oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry, can someone zoom out a little? I think I have all of them lined up. Okay, I was thinking, so they're not side by side, but they're vertical. So if we can see or a row, I think if you want to see the lower half, so you can see the existing is on the lower and then above. So this is the north elevation. This is the existing kitchen, and we're building up above this a whole second story. And then that roof line is going to tie into this existing hip roof. So this actual would disappear on this side. And then this is the east elevation of the house, where this is the existing kitchen, and which accesses into a mudroom area that goes down to a porch. We're keeping the cellar door is remaining. And we would lose this. So this wall that's shown behind the kitchen will all be gone. So we're going to salvage as much of the existing brackets and eave trim and eave details, even the surrounding trim of the windows, which is quite unique. And then, you know what? Stay here. And then this is the This is the south side of the kitchen area. So you can see that roof, that one-story roof line. This is the stairs going up to a covered porch and then the mudroom right there. So we're going to fill in all this and also eliminate this roof line and extend it up. So if we go up to the proposed elevations, if you scroll up, yeah, there. The north elevation, so this is the kitchen wall. We had considered windows here, but for storage, for the cabinets, and because it's so close to the property line and the neighbors, we eliminated them for privacy as well as for storage area. And then we have 3 large casements, that mimic the double hung and the mullions there. The reason for a casement versus the double hung is right over the sink. And so basically what happens with the double hung is you end up like looking right at the frame with the head height. So I like to propose casements over the kitchen window, but we're repeating the proportions and the mullion pattern as well. And then we're also matching the trim detail. And then over in the bedroom up above, once again, we are repeating the windows in proportion and style, but they will be new windows and new trim, or I'm sorry, excuse me, as much salvage as we're going to have. And then we might have to produce some of this ourselves. And then on the south elevation, we have French doors that are coming out from the kitchen out to a new deck. Once again, I tried to stay in proportion with the French doors, with the proportions of the existing double hungs, and trying to mimic a similar mullion pattern so that you can see, like, if this was just a window, it would be very similar in proportion as the existings. And then these 2 windows that are in the same bedroom are the same size as well as, as the one over here that's in the bathroom. This one we do have to replace, unfortunately, because it's right over a tub. It's not tempered, and it's not the existing one was just shy of 2 feet sill height. As you can see, the roof line and the eave detail and the frieze detail would continue into the new addition and wrap around on all 3 sides. And then that hip roof will extend and connect to the existing hip roof. And I think that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody here from the public wishing to speak? Okay, in that case, it's time for us to ask questions of the applicant. Questions for the applicant? Go ahead, John.
Hi. So on the south side of the house, there are the existing additions on the back of the house, and you're essentially turning that into a 2-story addition instead of the 1-story that it is now. Is that roughly okay?
Yeah, building directly upon over it.
And is there an existing foundation under that part, or is that like up on stilts?
No, there is an existing foundation.
Okay, so that really set up the dimension between I guess what was the original house and the addition. It looks like there's only about a 6-inch break between those 2 planes of the south elevation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. I'm
Okay.
following you, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Other questions for the applicant?
Will the siding match?
Yes. All the details will match existing. They will have to side that whole new addition to make it continuous.
What will it be sided in? What is the material for the siding?
It's wood siding. I mean, it'll be solid wood painted.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
just to match the existing materials.
Okay.
And the existing is wood?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So that, I'm assuming that's the same with the freeze board and all the brackets and everything, same
Yeah.
matching in kind.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're going to try to salvage as much as we can from
Right.
the existing roof. And also with the existing 2 windows that are in that bedroom, we're going to salvage as much as we can of that.
All right, any other questions for the applicant?
Are the railings on the porch going to be wood or metal?
Wood.
Okay.
The decking will be a poly resin, but everything else will be natural wood material.
And one more question about the roof. The height of the roof of the addition is going to match the height of the existing. Is that correct? It'll meet back to it.
So there's a 6-inch.
Even at the roof.
A 6-inch jog, like John mentioned. It was funny because I was trying to think of like, will they try to match it, frame it, and then subtly, because that little inches might not make much of a difference, or will there be a slight jog? There might be a slight jog.
Okay.
But once again, that perspective will not be noticeable from someone walking down the street.
Anything else? Okay, all right. Thank you, Jeannie. And we're moving to our own discussion. Does anyone have thoughts? I'll start. I do not see any particular problem with the design as it is proposed.
I would say I appreciate that the design goes to considerate effort to replicate already existing freeze board and brackets and surrounds around the windows and window styles. So I think it's a nice design that way, that it continues almost seamlessly back.
Lisa or Beth, do you guys have comments?
No, I agree. I think it's a really nice addition.
Amanda? I can't tell if you, yeah, okay.
I have nothing to add. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with everyone's comments.
Okay, well, if there's nothing to add, then we could move to a vote. If you guys, yes, I'm getting a yes. Okay, in that case, would somebody like to make a motion?
I can make one.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me just pull it up here. So I can't see anymore. I'd like to make a motion on for us to issue a COA for 1423 Elmwood Avenue landmark, case 24 Pres 0171. And then read the whole thing. Is that right?
Yeah, just where it says certificate of appropriateness to construct a.
Okay. For a certificate of appropriateness to construct a 2nd-story hipped roof addition to an existing single-story gable addition at the home's rear volume and alter the current home's pattern of fenestration with new windows in new openings and replacement windows in existing openings. Applicable standards, alteration 1 through 10 and construction 1 through 8, 10 through 13, and 15.
Okay, do we have a second? Charles is seconded. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Yep.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, seeing none, motion passes. Thank you. Actually, yeah, there was an abstain
Oh,
because he sat out. So, okay, so there was one abstention. Thomas, Elman. He's just not here to abstain, but he's. Okay, Thomas, you can come back in. Okay, moving on to the adoption of the 2025 meeting dates. It's a fairly straightforward thing, except we had to, I guess that's the royal we, because actually Kate did it. It has to be the third Tuesday in 2 months, January and July. Did everyone see that and the reasoning behind that? This would be on page 84 of the packet. But otherwise, August is canceled as usual, and as far as I can tell, it's the second Tuesday in every month except January and July. Did you have something to say?
Just me personally, but I wouldn't be able to make the January meeting then, I think.
Oh, okay. But in terms of the schedule, does everyone see it and does anyone have any issues with it? Because if not, we'll go ahead and vote. Go ahead. Did you?
I was just going to make a motion. Do
Oh,
we have
okay.
to make a motion or
Yeah.
or you just say?
No, I think we'll
Okay.
make a motion. Go ahead.
All right. If there's no objection, I make a motion to adopt the proposed 2025 meeting schedule.
All right. Is there a second? Okay. Amanda. All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Motion carries. So those will be our dates. Trying to get back up to the top here. Oh, shoot. Okay. The next item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from last time. Did anyone have any comments on the meeting minutes? Notes? Anything that needed to be changed or whatever? Okay. Seeing none, we'll assume that those are approved. And just before we adjourn, a reminder that we have a special meeting back here in 2 days from now on the one topic. Did everyone see the agenda for that in their inboxes? Okay. All right. We're going to adjourn. It is 9:00 sharp. Thank you, everyone. Good night.